Hi there, students. Who's who? Who is who? Okay, this is the names of people, their jobs, their statuses. So, for example, you'll soon find out who's who in the office, who the different people are. That this is John, and he's in charge of the computer department, and this is Mike, who is the boss's secretary. And this is Sally, who is the security guard. So you find out who's who in the office. And then a who's who, a book of facts about famous people, a list of famous people. And who's who is a reference work that has been published since 1849, or at least in the UK, and it's about prominent British people. But a who's who is a book that tells you who is important. So this list is a who's who of who is important in the world of internet. I think the Forbes list of the 500 most wealthy people is a who's who of the richest people in the world. Okay, so who's who is who? The list of people attending the conference read like a who's who of the business world. I'm just getting to know who's who in the department. Okay, so who's who? The list of competitors reads like a who's who of international tennis players. Okay, so the guest list was like a who's who of the great and the good, of the important people, the elite. So it's either who is who has which position, or a book or a list containing the names and short biographies of the most important people in a certain field, in a certain place. Yeah, okay, a listing or a grouping of all the notable persons, or even the notable things. The who's who of the most important companies. Okay, a who's who of sports figures. So who are the most important sports figures in the world? I'm sure you could give me a who's who. So who's who is a book that's produced every year in the UK and contains an alphabetical list of famous and important people, politicians, writers, entertainers, and it gives information about what they've done and their families. So if a list reads like a who's who, it contains a lot of famous people. The list of guests read like a who's who of the music business. If you know who is who within a particular organisation, you know everybody's name and you know what job they have. A who's who of something, a list of important people in an organisation. And it very often emphasises that many important people are involved with something. Whenever I go to a family reunion, I can never remember who's who. I remember Who's Who is also a game. It was a game that I used to love to play with my kids, or my kids used to love to play with me. Who's Who. You had to identify a person. So who is who? So who's who? Which person is which? So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? Okay, so who's who? A compilation of brief biographies of particular people in a field. The who's who, the leaders of a group, the elite. Okay, the most important people. The actors that she's directed in recent years is a who's who of the most famous Hollywood stars. His contacts are like a who's who of Silicon Valley. She was so successful that she ended up included in multiple different who's who's. Okay, so who's a who's who? Formality. I think I'm going to give it a 5 in formality. Use anywhere. So, who's who? Bye for now.